Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Career Launcher. My name is Naveen, and today we'll be looking at most important sets series. This is part one of three sessions. Yeah. Good evening, Arun. Good evening. Okay. So before we begin, there is an announcement that I'm going to make. So tomorrow at 8:30 p.m., Mr. Gautam Puri and Mr. Jijo Srinivasan, they are going to take a session on CAT 2024 Masterstroke, and they are going to discuss how to analyze DILR section. And this is episode 3. If you guys have missed the previous episodes, please make sure that you go to our YouTube channel, check in the playlist regarding the same. Okay, so do not forget to join tomorrow at 8:30. Okay, let's begin with our first set of the day. 24 people are part of 3 committees, which are to look at research, teaching, and administration, respectively. No 2 committees have any member in common. No 2 committees are of same size. Each committee has 3 types of people: bureaucrats, educationalists, and politicians, with at least one from each of the 3 types in each committee. The following facts are also known about the committees. The numbers of bureaucrats in the research and teaching committees are equal, while the number of bureaucrats in the research committee is 75% of the number of bureaucrats in the administration committee. The number of this in teaching committee is less than this, number of this is the average of this, and so on and so forth. So if we have once glanced through it, what do you think would be the most appropriate way of representing these the data that we have? The best way. So we have got 3 committees, and then we have got 3 types of people, right? And within a committee, we are given some data, some information about types of people, and within types of people, we are given some information, right? So isn't it better if we write down research, teaching, and administration as the committees, and then types of people as the rows? So the best way would be to represent a table. So we have got bureaucrats, we have got educationalists, we have got politicians, and the total number of people, whether we are going to calculate the sum of the rows or whether we are going to calculate the sum of the columns, it should be 24, right? Then it is given that at least each from each of the 3 types, as in the value at every cell, the 6 by 6 table, 3 by 3 table, that is 9 cells that we have. So it should not be 0, it should be at least 1, right? No 2 committees are of same size. That means the size of the committee which is research should be different from that of T, that should be different from that of A, right? These are committees. In research committee, we have got 3 types of people. In this, we have 3 types. In this, we have 3 types, right? And then we are given the information. So once we have understood how to represent it, the next step is, let's look at the questions quickly and understand, will we be able to complete the table, or are there going to be cases? As in, to understand what would be the level of difficulty of the set. So what is the number of bureaucrats in the admin committee? Theta, definite. What is the number of this in the research? Theta, definite. Which of the following cannot be determined uniquely based on the given information? So maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 cells may not be completely filled. Based on the given information, which of the following statements must be false? So again, so some of the information will be concrete, some will be dependent. So there might be cases. So once we have understood it, let's fill the cells. So we have got the committees, which are research, and then we have got teaching, and then we have got administration, right? And then the types of people that we have are bureaucrats, educationalists, and politicians. The total number of people are supposed to be 24, right? I'll give you guys 5 to 7 minutes Go ahead, try to solve this. All the information required is right here. Let's see if it's that easy that we can solve it within 5 to 7 minutes, or is it a difficult one? Arun, obviously. Lekhan, geometry series, I think I took 5 or 6 sessions, right? So we have covered all the types of questions, not very extensively, but as of now, those are the only sessions that are lined up for me, at least for this month. Well, if you want more geometry sessions, please look into Mr. Gaurav Gupta's sessions. You'll find a different playlist for him. Sure, Arun. I was about to give time. Otherwise, it won't make sense for me to solve everything. Okay. So let's say if it's actually a tough set or not. So let's look at the statements. 24 people are part of 3 committees which are to look at research, teaching, and administration respectively. We have already filled it up. No 2 committees have any member in common. So if somebody is in research under bureaucrats, that person cannot be anywhere else. So we are not dealing with set theory. No 2 committees are of same size. So the values, if each column should be different. Each committee has 3 types of people: bureaucrats, educationalists, politicians, with at least one from each of the 3 types in each committee. So no 0 is allowed. That's something we already knew. Let's start putting in the values. The number of bureaucrats in the research and teaching committees are equal. Bureaucrats in research and teaching committees are equal. Let's call that as P and B. Bureaucrats, so B. While the number of bureaucrats in the research committee is 75% of the number of bureaucrats in the administration committee. So 75% is actually 3 by 4. So I will take in the admin committee as 4B, such that in research it is 3B. Since it is 3B in research, is 3B in teaching. That means total bureaucrats we have is 10B. Okay, so done with the 4th statement. Next, the number of educationalists in the teaching committee is less than the number of educationalists in the research committee. So this value is less than research wala. Done with this. The number of educationalists in the research committee is the average of the number of educationalists in the other 2 committees. So if I consider teaching to be A and admin, A nahi lete, let's take a different variable. So if I take them as E and F, so this is going to be E plus F by 2. So this is greater than this, right? And it is the average of the other 2. Now, see, if you take 2 numbers and if you calculate its average, the average value will be greater than one of the numbers and it will be less than the other number. So E plus F by 2 is greater than E. It means E plus F by 2 should be less than F, which means E should be less than F also, right? What are the values? We do not know. Now, if I add all of this, this is going to give me 3 by 2 times of E plus F. E plus F plus half of E plus F is going to be 1.5 times E plus F. Next, 60% of the politicians are in the admin committee and 20% are in the teaching committee. 60% is, in terms of fraction, is 3 by 5 and 20% is 1 by 5. So what I will do is I'll take total to be 5P, such that in teaching committee we have P 1/5, that's 20%. And in the admin committee we have 3/5, so that is going to be 3P. So out of 5P, if we have 3P here, P here, so the leftover P will be here. Now, if we look at this particular total, the last column, we will have 10B plus 3 by 2 times E plus F plus 5P, that is given as 24. Now, can we take B is equal to 0? No, because there will be 0 bureaucrats throughout, not allowed. Can we take B is equal to 1? Yes. Can we take B is equal to 2? Well, if we take B is equal to 2, the total number of bureaucrats will be 20 out of 24. That would mean 4 people are total of educationalists and politicians, which is not possible because politicians themselves are multiple of 5. So minimum 5 politicians already exist. So we cannot take 2. So that means we can take B as 1 and only 1. So out of 24, we have 10 so far. So the value of B is 1. That would mean that there are total 10 people, 10 bureaucrats, out of which there are 4 admin, 3 teaching, and 3 research. Okay. Next, this is 10. So we need 14 from here. Now, if you pay attention to the second term, it's a multiple of 3. And this third term is a multiple of 5. Multiple of 3 and multiple of 5, because sum should be 14. How is it possible? It's only possible if we get 9 and 5. There is no other way. So 5P is 5. That would mean that P is going to be 1. Right? So P is 1. That means this overall total number of politicians that we have is 5, out of which admin is 3, teaching is 1, and research is 1. Now, 3 by 2 times E plus F would mean that E plus F should be 6, right? So that we have 3 by 2 times of 6, which will give us 9. So if E plus F is 6, that means this is going to give us a 3, and this is going to give us a 9. Now, if E plus F is going to be 6, the values that E and F can take would be 1, 5, 2, 4, 3, 3 not allowed, 4, 2, and so on, right? So if I take E as, E has to be less than 3, isn't it? So I can take the value of E as only 1 and 2. And accordingly, F will take only the values 5 and 4. 1 plus 5 is 6, and 2 plus 4 is 6. What is the total number of people in the research? 7, sorry, not 9, 7. What is the total number of people under the teaching? 3 plus 1 plus 1, that is 5, or 3 plus 2 plus 1, which is 6. Total number of people in the admin committee, 4 plus 5 plus 3, which is 12, or 4 plus 4 plus 3, which is 11, which makes this statement perfect. And we have at least 1 from each of the 3 types in each committee, so there is no 0 also. So it wasn't difficult. We had an equation in 3 variables. Since the total was less, it was only 24, there were restricted values that B, E plus F, and P can take. What did I run? Tough nahi tha. All you have to do was put in the value 1 by 1, starting with B, because that has the largest coefficient. Fine. Let's solve the questions now. What is the number of bureaucrats in the admin committee? Number of bureaucrats in the admin committee, 4. Okay. What is the number of educationalists in the research committee? Educationalists in the research committee, there are 3. Which of the following cannot be determined uniquely based on the given information? The total number of educationalists in the 3 committees. We know exact number of educationalists. That's 9, right? So we can determine this. The total number of bureaucrats in the 3 committees. Total number of bureaucrats in the 3 committees, that is also unique. It's 10. The size of teaching committee, that's not unique. It's either 5 or 6. The size of research committee, that's fixed. That's 7. So the answer is going to be option C. Next, based on the given information, which of the following statements must be false? In the admin committee, the number of bureaucrats, in the admin committee, the number of bureaucrats, which is 4, is equal to the number of educationalists. In the admin committee, the number of bureaucrats, which is 4, is equal to the number of educationalists. It may be true, it may be false, because 4, 5 and 4, 4 both can happen. So this is like maybe false, so not the answer. The size of the research committee is less than the size of the teaching committee. Size of the research committee is less than the size of the teaching committee. No, this is definitely false, whether teaching committee is 5 or 6. So B becomes our answer. If you check the other 2 statements, they will be not definitely false. Right? Chalo. Let's do another set. This is a set based on games and tournament. Okay, this is the only thing that is given to you with questions. Okay, you need to figure out who played against whom and who won, all of that. Let's see. What is the value of education and teaching? There is no value of education and teaching. Educationalists and teaching, as in this particular region, which is denoted by E here, Okay. Yeah. So give it a try. If you are done, as in if you have figured out who played against whom, who won, as in the entire result of this particular tournament, let me know in the chat. One more minute. Anyone? No? Chalo. Let's see. 5 teams, NOID and A, played a local cricket tournament where each team played against every other team exactly once. A win results in 3 points awarded to the winning team. A tie results in 1 point awarded to each of the two teams, and a loss result in no points awarded to the losing team. So win would mean +3, loss would mean nothing, and a draw or a tie would mean +1. The following table gives the sum of the points awarded to given pairs of teams at the end of the tournament. It is also known that there were a total of 3 draw matches in the tournament. And if we look at teams N and O, their total points is 20, N and D is 14, N and A is 11, N and I is 12. So there are 2 steps involved. First, we need to find out what are the total number of points each of the 5 teams have. Second is, we need to figure out, once we have known how many points each team has, then we need to find out how many wins, losses, and draws those particular teams go through. Okay. So suppose, just ऐसे ही बोल रहा हूँ. Suppose A के 4 points. Can we say A ka 4 points would mean it is going to result in a win and a draw? And since A has to play 4 games, that means the other 2 matches were losses. Every team is going to play 4 matches. There are 5 teams. Her team बाकी 4 के साथ खेलेगी. तो her team 4 match खेलनी है, right? So this is what I'm trying to say, that once you have figured out the points that is awarded to each team at the end of the tournament, we need to then see how many wins, losses, and draws can happen. Now, are we going to have cases, or are we going to get a unique scenario? Let's look at the questions and determine that. 5th theta, 6th theta, 7th has an option which says cannot be determined. So maybe, who knows? 8th has an option which says cannot be determined. Maybe. 9th, definite. So at least 3 questions we'll be able to solve quickly, right? So let's solve. So first of all, figure out how many points each one has. Okay? If I add all of these teams, can we say this is going to be 4n plus O plus I plus D plus A? This is equal to 20, 30, 40, 50, 57, right? Now, there are 5 teams, right? 5 teams, if they play against each other, there are going to be a total of 5C2, which is 10 matches. Out of these 10 matches, we are told that 3 of those matches, they result in draw. That means the 7 remaining matches, they result in win-loss result. If 7 matches win and loss, that means 7 of the teams, maybe the same team is repeated 10 times, sorry, 4 times or 2 times, we do not know. But whenever 7 teams will be winning, they will be given 7 into 3, these many points. And when 3 draws are going to happen, so between 2 teams, if a draw happens, both are awarded 1 point each. So 2 points awarded there. That means 3 draws would mean 3 into 2, 6 points. So the total number of points out of these 10 matches among these teams is going to be 21 plus 6, which is 27 points. Ye 27 points kya bol raha hai? This 27 says that the match that will be, the points that will be awarded to N plus O plus I plus D plus A. Ye 5 teams ke aapas mein, whatever points will be awarded, it will be from draws and wins and losses. Total 27 points are there in the tournament. Okay, forget about the table. 27 points are there in the tournament. Those 27 points will be awarded among these 5 teams only. So, if we look at these two, can I say 4n can be written as 3n plus n plus O plus I plus D plus A? This is 57, wherein the sum of the points that these 5 teams get alone is 27. So we will have 3n is equal to 30, or we will be getting n is equal to 10. Once we get the value of n is equal to 10, so O is going to be 10 as well. N is going to be 10, so D is going to be 4. N is going to be 10, so A is going to be 1. N is going to be 10, so I is going to be 2. Okay. Now, if N is awarded 10 points from 4 matches, कैसे हो सकता है 10? Win करने पे +3, lose करने पे nothing, and draw पे +1. So how can I get 10 from 4? 3, 3, 3, 9 हो गया, and +1 more. So 10 can be made from 3, 3, 3, and 1. That would mean 3 matches were won by N, and 1 match was a draw, a tie. Okay? So I'll write tie here properly. If you look at O was also awarded 10 points. Same concept, right? 3 wins and a tie. I was awarded 2 points. 2 points will only happen if there are 2 draws, 1 plus 1. What about the other 2 matches? Losses. Okay. If you look at D was awarded 4 points. How can we have 4? We can have 4 if there are 4 draws. D or all 4 matches were tied. But if all 4 matches were tied, there were 4 draws happening. But in this question, it's given only 3 will happen. So 4, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 nahi ho sakta. The only possibility is 1 win and a draw. That is 3 plus 1. As in 3 would denote win, 1 will denote draw, and the other 2 matches were lost. That's why 0 points were added to that. If you look at A was given only 1 point. That will only happen if that was a draw and the other 3 matches were lost. Now, we are supposed to fill which team played against which team. That we already know. Each team plays against every other team. Now, the match between a pair of team, who was the winner? That's what we need to find out now. So, let's look at this particular match, the match between N and O. Now, if you look at the match between N and O, these are their results. N 3 wins, O 3 wins, and a single tie between them. Not between them, as in single tie in each of them. It can't be a win for N. Because if there is a win for N, then there has to be an L for O. Loss दिखना चाहिए था O का. Vice versa, if O won this match against N, that means N का जो 4 matches का result है, we should be seeing loss over there. We do not see loss in either of those. That means this match was definitely a tie. So I'm putting a blank, a dash over there to denote tie. The moment I get the tie for N, that means it's all the 3 matches were won. So I'm going to write down the letter name. If you guys have looked, if you guys have watched my previous games in tournament session, this is how I draw. I draw a matrix to denote which team play against which team, and then I write down the initials of the teams who win. Okay. O also, so we are done with 3 wins. O का देखे तो इसका भी tie हो रखा है, and 3 wins O का भी होना है. So these are the 3 places where O can win. So done with this also. Now, if N wins, so it will win against all the 3 remaining 3 teams also. And then if O wins 3 matches, so it will be against the other 3. मतलब बाकी तीनों teams का एक loss from N and O, those will be discarded, right? Next, I has to draw 2 matches. And I has already lost to N and O. So 2 matches draw will come from the other 2 matches that it has to play against D and A. So D का draw इसके साथ, D का draw इसके साथ. So the last match between D and A is a match where D wins. So we actually know the outcomes of each and every match. Okay, let's look at the questions now. How many pairs of team had equal number of draws in the tournament? Well, I has 2 draws, D has 1 draw, A has 1 draw, N has 1 draw, O has 1 draw, right? Or in other words, if we have 3 draws that are going to happen, so we are going to, there are 6 teams. Out of the 6 teams, 2 teams have, 1 team has 2 draws, and the remaining 4, they have 1 draw each. So since the question is asking how many pairs of team had equal number of draws, since there are 4 teams, that's going to give us 2 pairs. Right? Who won the match between A and D? Between A and D, D won the match. So it should be D. Okay. So this is not exactly theta. There should have been options. A, D, cannot be determined. Or या फिर A के लिए 1 put करो, D के लिए 2. How many of the given 5 teams did not win any match? So we can see that N, O, and D, these 3 teams definitely won at least 1 match. That means I and A, they did not. So 2 teams did not win even a single match. The match between A and I, resulted in win by A, win by I, draw. It resulted in a draw. Who was at the bottom of the points table at the end of the tournament? So lowest point kisko mila tha? A got 1 point. So it's going to be A. Right? So I hope you guys were able to follow everything. This was not a difficult set. This was not an easy set. It was somewhere between easy to moderate. Okay. I'll consider that to be closer to moderate than to easy, because there were steps involved. We need to first of all figure out how many points each team had. Then those points can be formed using what combination. You can see there were unique cases, as in they're unique combination. कभी भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि ये भी हो सकता वो भी हो सकता, right? And once that is done, in order to find out which team played against which team and what was the result, we need to draw the matrix, which is used for round robin. So that's all for today. Do you guys have any question for me? Please go ahead, ask. And if you are not having any question right now, you can definitely ask the question in the comment section later on. Okay, I'll reply. So that's all for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Okay, bye-bye. Good night.